Welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about converting fractions. Now there are three main types of fractions. Proper fractions, which have a smaller numerator and a larger denominator. There are improper fractions that have a larger numerator and a smaller denominator. Now don't let the term improper fool you. It doesn't mean that the number is wrong. It's a valid number. It's just often we want to be able to represent those as our next type of fraction, which we refer to as a mixed number. And we see that a mixed number consists of a whole number, which I represent as a W, and then a proper fraction with a small numerator and a larger denominator. Examples of each of these would be for a proper fraction, maybe 1/2, or 3/4 or 3/4. An improper fraction could be, for instance, 7/3 or 5/2. Notice that in these examples here, the smaller numerator, larger denominator, and the improper fraction, larger numerator, smaller denominator. And then with our mixed number, we have a whole number, say for instance 3 1/4, or 2 1/5. Again, we see that we have a whole number combined with a a proper fraction, small numerator, large denominator. Okay. Now, often we will have the problem or a situation where we have an improper fraction and we want to convert it to a mixed number in order to simplify it, and we can do that with these three steps of divide, multiply, and subtract. So if we look at an example of, say for instance, 7/2, we're going to take our first step, which is to take our large numerator, which is our 7. We're going to take our larger numerator, 7, and we're going to divide that by our smaller denominator of 2. And we're going to get a number of 3.5. And we can see that I've listed that as the numerator divided by denominator is equal to W decimal R. And what that W decimal R means is that the W is our whole number. And that's what we're going to be using to create our mixed number. And the decimal 5 is a remainder that we can ignore. Second step is to then take our whole number 3, multiply it by our original denominator 2, and we get a product of 6. And then we're going to take that product and we're going to subtract that from the original numerator of 7. So 7 subtract 6 is equal to 1. And this 1 is now going to become our new numerator. So the 3 is our whole number, and the 1 will be our new numerator. So we can say that 7/2 is equal to 3 1/2. Another example of this we could take a look at, perhaps with a larger set, would be, for instance, 37 divided by 8, or 37/8. So step number 1, we said, is to take our numerator, divide it by our denominator, and we have 4.625. Now again, we said that the 4 will be our whole number and we can ignore the remainder. So step 2, we're going to take that whole number of 4, we're going to multiply that by our original denominator of 8, and we see that 4 times 8 is equal to 32. And then in step 3, we're going to take our original numerator, 37, and we're going to subtract the product of 32, and 37 subtract 32 is 5, and this is our new numerator. So here is our whole number, and here is our new numerator. So 37/8 would be equal to our whole number 4, new numerator 5, original denominator 8. So 37/8 is equal to 4 5/8. Now, we might get into a situation where we want to convert a mixed number to an improper fraction. And we might wonder, why would we want to do this? And perhaps we are adding or subtracting, multiplying or dividing fractions, and rather than having to deal with a mixed number, we convert it to an improper fraction, perform our operation, and then if we need to, we can convert it back following the steps we just covered. So for instance, if we had a mixed number of, say, 2 and 3/5, so 2 and 3/5, we can see that the 2 is our whole number, the 3 is our numerator, and the 5 is our denominator. And so we're just going to use this formula that we have over here to help us. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our denominator, 5, we're going to multiply that by our whole number, 2, and we're going to add our numerator, 3, and notice that this is over the original denominator of 5. And so we see that 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 over 5, and then 10 plus 3 is 13 over 5. So 2 and 3/5 is equal to 13 over 5. We can do a second example. Perhaps we have 7 and 8 over 9. So again, we're going to take our denominator of 9, we're going to multiply that by our whole number of 7, and we're going to add our numerator of 8, and our denominator will stay the same. 9 times 7 is 63, plus 8 over 9, and 63 plus 8 will be 71 over 9. So 7 and 8/9, sorry for the bad 8, 7 and 8/9 would be equal to 71 over 9. Okay, well, I hope that helps. We can see that with 3 types of fractions that we have, we can convert back and forth between the two, mixed numbers and improper fractions. In another video, you can see how to reduce or to simplify proper fractions. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again. Bye.